period of time. The situation that has left so many unanswered questions on the lips of city dwellers has pushed them to resort to wells and streams in a bid to gather precious liquid. Central Regional Correspondent Colette Lung sampled the opinion of some Ewane city dwellers regarding the situation. Her report.
One of the measures put in place by the World Health Organization in the fight against the COVID-19 is hand washing with clean running water. How then can Cameroonians wash hands with clean water when they barely get water or clean water from their taps? The case in Yaoundé.
I'm here to carry water because I'm living at the Fulandis near because I'm forced to come and drop water that we are going through. It's not easy.
To see to it that they can end water poverty. Lots of inhabitants go for more than 15 minutes from their homes to get clean or potable water. And particularly we have women and children who trek long distances to get water.
What are some of these challenges?
I decided to come and carry water here because for some time now we have not had water in our home. I can say for over a period of 1 month now, there have been scarcity of water.
And how can it be resolved?
And in Cameroon in particular, we discovered that a majority of communities either have natural sources of water or they have pipe-borne water. But in some cases where there are natural sources of water, there are problems of animals and the catchment areas are problems. So this goes on from the education of how to preserve the catchment, planting of certain natural trees to preserve the catchments, and then harvesting of that water. Whether they harvest it directly with their buckets, they collect rainwater, or they use pipe-borne water, we now go to the level of the clean water, because collecting water is one thing, having clean water is another, and then having potable water, which is drinkable, is another. Therefore, in most communities, we discover that since the government and other people cannot reach with ease, the water that they have, we look for little amenities, for little projects, little things that they can do to make that water usable so that it will limit the spread of diseases like typhoid and all the like.
In order to successfully eradicate the spread of the coronavirus, the government should provide clean water to Cameroonians.
Women in Melong Mungo division of the Lithowa region of Cameroon have been called to work in synergy in order to secure a better future. The call was made during the launching of the 37th edition of the International Women's Day in that part of the country. Details right ahead. The Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondwa, has called on all, notably women, to work hand in gloves in a bid to secure a better future, void of all forms of discrimination. She made the call as she launched the 37th edition of the International Women's Day in Melong, Mungo division of the Lithowa region, Friday, February 25, 2022.
Each member of the society, regardless of his sex, should be concerned about the dramatic changes we are seeing in our environment. And we should all work hand in hand, men and women, so that we can prepare a better future for future generations. Yes, we are all together, no discrimination. Let's plan for the future, our future and the future of our children. Together, faced with dramatic changes, women should take part in everything. Men cannot do it alone, women cannot do it alone. It's hand in hand.
Professor Marie-Thérèse Abena, during the launching ceremony, encouraged men to stand as key actors for the promotion of women activities, just as the theme equality between women and men today for a sustainable tomorrow. Just as you know it, women have a specific role to play in the world. Women are not supposed to stay at home, but the woman has to contribute towards development. That's why we are here today, to support women and give them space in all aspects of development. Prizes and agricultural inputs were handed to associations to help boost productivity, especially in the agricultural sector. Closing the ceremony at the Melong Ceremonial Ground, Minister Marie-Therese Abena visited exhibition stands where food items and homemade products like dresses, jewelry and detergents produced by women were put on display. Now, internationally acclaimed peace crusader and lawyer Tumfo Barista Nico Hale has celebrated over 160 awards. The celebration took place last Friday at the Sawa Hotel in Douala. Lasha Kingsley was there in our reports.
Hundreds of Cameroonians turned out at the Sawa Hotel in Douala Friday, February 25, 2022 to celebrate with Tumfo Barista Nico Hale, God's grace for impacting society. During the celebration, Tumfo was blessed by the Archbishop of the Metropolitan Archdiocese of Douala, His Grace Samuel Kleda. The celebration was attended by a cream of dignitaries stemming from diplomatic missions, administrative, religious, and traditional authorities. Speaking shortly after the first part of the ceremony, Tumfo Barista Nico Hale said he was not celebrating 160 awards, but God's grace.
We are not celebrating achievement. We are not celebrating the more than 160 accolades, medals, awards, or whatever. We are celebrating the giver. I don't celebrate the gift, I celebrate the giver. Without God, I am nothing. Without God, you are nothing. And that's why I don't lay emphasis on the gifts. I lay emphasis on the giver. And that's why I thank God for His grace, His mercy, His love, His strength, His wisdom. All of that package has propelled me into doing what all of you admire, humanity admires, for the entire nation and beyond. And so I'm celebrating God's grace today. And let us celebrate Him and love each other. Because if God loves us, we should in turn love each other.
Speakers upon speakers mounted the stage, and the message was the same: how Tumfo's works have contributed to the betterment of the society.
He likes speaking to the minds of people. He likes speaking to the minds of people. He's very frank, he's very honest, he's sincere, virtues which is important. Build our personality.
We have Nico in his lifetime who has left great amount of footprints for youngsters to follow. So I wish you all the very best, long life, many more accomplishments, be an apostle of peace you are, and all the very best, and God bless.
Change are in two ways. You can change by moving backwards, and you can change by moving forward. But Tumfo Nico Hale has changed moving forward.
Tumfo Barista Nico Hale was elevated to an institution.
I heard one of the speakers in this roster talk of Nico Hale becoming an institution. An institution. I want to concur and say, I saw Nicola Hale moving from a human resource to human capital. Today he is an institution.
The celebration culminated with the launch of a mega magazine titled Journey Through Tumfo Barista Nico Hale Award Gallery.
The General Assembly of the Babisi Cultural and Development Association has elected a new executive bureau. The election process was held over the weekend in Douala. Joingang followed the elections and compiled the following report.
Last Saturday, February 26, 2022, the people of the Babisi community gathered in Douala for the final stage of the election of the National Bureau of their Cultural and Development Association, dubbed Hukuda. The fairness of the elections, according to the Electoral Committee, was guaranteed following the setting up of a series of mechanisms.
We started putting up a strong electoral code that was used to guide all our actions. And every action we have been taking
is in line with the constitution of the Development Association and the electoral code put in place. And the electoral code as well as the constitution were put in place by the General Assembly, by people themselves. And we had to respect what we put as the rule.
The elections, which took place rather under a highly monitored system, saw an impressive turnout of the Babisi people, all eager to vote.
Satisfied because everybody is happy and taking action by it, and everybody is confident about the process. That is why you see a mammoth crowd. People are scrambling and eager to get to vote because of the credibility, because of the confidence that they have in us, the organizers, the electoral committee. That is why you see this massive attendance, and we are doing it.
The newly elected president, himself an economic operator, intends to begin work immediately as he has already envisaged quite a number of projects.
We know about flood in Babisi. We always have recurrent flood in Babisi, so we need a way to drainage so that we can have the flood not be recurring again. The second issue is human-centered development. We train, give royal scholarships to young students back at home. Our cultural heritage, clear poetry, so that we encourage those young ones who are not interested in modern clay pots that we are popularly known for, to get back home, meet these old mothers who are almost disappearing from closely every day, so that they should actually teach them.
The biggest challenge of the new bureau is that of raising funds for major projects, but it is hoped that with the support of the traditional ruler of Babisi, the problem of finance will be solved.
Still ahead, Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malachi, has inaugurated a new CT scan machine in Bamenda. The new machine was inaugurated Friday, February 25 at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. Audrey Nsah completes the story.
The Bamenda Regional Hospital played host to Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malachi, for the inauguration of a 32-slide CT scan offered by the Cameroonian government to the establishment. During the ceremony, which took place at the esplanade of the hospital, the director, Dr. Denis Nsah, in presenting the imaging center, highlighted the great impact that the new CT scan will have on the quality of healthcare services provided to the population. Minister Manawuda Malachi, in his remark, saluted efforts put in place by the health family in the Northwest region through its regional delegate, Dr. Nsah, to continuously provide quality health care to the population despite the dual crisis plaguing the region. He further saluted efforts made by the hospital administration in the proper functioning of the hospital and again recognized the efforts put by medics in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying that they deserve bonuses to encourage them in the work they do. Minister Manawuda Malachi equally bore a special message to the population, calling on all to be messengers of peace in their different communities. The inauguration ceremony saw the presence of the governor of the Northwest region and his état-major. Dignitaries such as the Public Independent Conciliator, President of the Regional Assembly, and administrators of the regional hospital were equally part of the very important personalities present.
Now, fire has ravaged a plank depot and a carpentry workshop in Fumban in the west region of Cameroon. Though no lives were lost, material damage recorded was enormous. Bokengo Worthy with details in the following report.
A plank depot and some carpentry workshop owners in Fumban over the weekend met with a frustrating demise as they were working from sleep with the news of the depot and their workshops in flames. I was called very late in the night about the fire. By the time we got here, there was no means to remove anything as all was already in flames. According to Mr. Mama, who is the president of Carpenters Association in that community, they didn't just lose their means of livelihood, but are heavily indebted. Most of the woods we were working with were borrowed, and now all have been consumed by the fire. We really want to plead with our clients to bear with us and give us some time to get ourselves together so we can see what to do. Though the fire started while men slept, a victim decried their plight for water shortage, which would have helped them reduce the disaster. There's no water. We used local methods to put out the fire. It was really very difficult. Firefighters had said we should use water from Kutuba. But we could not make it because of distance. We just had to make do with what we had, so as to avoid the fire from consuming people's houses too. With their businesses down as well as their capital, these carpenters plead for moral, emotional, and most especially financial support from the powers that be, as well as from world riches, to help them stand on their feet and prevent their families from starving, as well as help them recompense their customers.
The 5th edition of Shuma Show Business Pitch Competition took place in Douala, during which Extra Vegetables, our company specialized in the production of natural fruit juice, emerged winner. The competition took place on Saturday, February 26th, as Eileen Summer tells us.
The Shuma Show Business Pitch Competition 2022 gathered a school of young entrepreneurs from across the national territory who showcased their talents, businesses, skills, and ideas, all contending for the 1 million prize from the organizers, who say the goal of the Shuma Entrepreneur Competition is to motivate startups.
The aim of the Shuma Show is actually to encourage African investors to invest in, to assist startups flourish and to motivate it. And basically, the way we look at it is that we actually believe that entrepreneurship is actually the backbone to every striving economy.
The event also provided a platform for young entrepreneurs to gain skills on business planning and mentorship.
We have very beautiful people, but that business part is always lacking. So we believe that training these entrepreneurs, providing coaching and mentoring sessions to them will actually help to propel their businesses and to make them see that business aspect. That is what we are actually looking for from these entrepreneurs. And also, we also have another segment of the Shuma Show, which is the one-on-one guest host talk show. And our main aim is really just to get already established entrepreneurs to express themselves, kind of like describe their journey, to ensure that when entrepreneurs get these challenges in life, they can know that there are other entrepreneurs who are already making it, who have actually been through such challenges and have resisted.
For the judges, each are looking for a particular factor in picking a winner.
I'm always looking for the businesses that can have the most impact. Most impact in the sense that can scale fast, that has the highest probability to scale. And because when it scales, that's more jobs will be created for Cameroonians. And I'm always about creating jobs. So most of them came with amazing products, which I'm first of all happy because products are easier to scale. You can go from producing 50 products per month to 500,000 products per month. It's just about adding machines and capital. Yeah, so those are the kind of businesses I'm looking at, and about 80% of them today show that they can scale.
Betty Abong, guest speaker at the event, is impressed with the Shuma Show.
I think the Shuma Entrepreneurial Show is amazing. I really appreciate the effort that Shirley and her team have gone through to put together such a fantastic group of people, fantastic group of judges. I really think it showcases the ability of our people in Cameroon and beyond, and the potential for Africa to use business to grow as a hub. Why not for the rest of the world? So it's really great, really amazing.
Fon Quinter, a young entrepreneur who is into fish farming, was a contestant.
I am 100% sure that I'm going to go back with this cash prize of 1 million francs because the project I presented is so feasible, and I will inject it into my fish business. I'll be able to get some materials to boost my production.
However, among the great business projects and ideas presented by the various contestants, among whom were a shoemaker, interior designer, fish farmer, and rice producer, only one could be crowned winner of the 6th edition of the competition. Extract Vegetal Sahel, specialized in the production of natural fruit juice.
The remains of late Mayor Andrew Mujimba Muthanga, the city mayor of Limbe, has been laid to rest. The funeral ceremony took place Saturday, February 26th, attended by Southwest Governor Bernardo Kadabilai, other administrative, local, traditional and security officials. Catherine Kongwe completes the story.
Residents of Limbe have officially paid homage to the town's late city mayor, Andrew Muthanga Mujimba. The funeral ceremony for the late mayor began with a requiem mass officiated by the synod clerk of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, Rev. Mickey Hans Ebai, together with College of Pastors and clergymen who prayed for the peaceful repose of the mayor's soul. The ceremony saw the presence of the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okala Bilai, together with 2 other governors, our Fonka Augustine from the West region and former governor of the Southwest, Ayeya Zamga, to bid farewell to the late city mayor of Limbe. Governor Okala, who led the funeral ceremony, was in Limbe on behalf of the head of state, Paul Biya.
Mr. Muthanga Andrew Mujimba, City Mayor of Limbe, in the name of the President of the Republic and by virtue of the powers conferred on us, we now make you Commander of the Order of Value posthumous.
Other speakers who came to sympathize with the family of the late mayor presented a hearty message of condolence.
We all came here gathered to pay farewell to our colleague, late Muthanga Andrew Mujimba, the mayor of Limbe City Council. You heard from our eulogy, he was a very committed member of the United Council and Cities of Cameroon. He was a committed mayor of division, and you've seen how we've mobilized to say adieu to our late brother. And we pray that any person who is going to take over from him will be somebody who will wear the shoe that he had put on.
The mourners were saluted for their great show of support by the family head, Gerard Muthanga, who is the director in charge of general affairs at Sonara. The mayor leaves behind a wife, Nzele Muthanga, 7 children, 14 grandchildren, a number of other adopted children, friends, the CPDM family, and a lot of others to mourn him.
A news out of the country, Nora Kakabe visited Comoros, Ethiopia, and the situation of African students trapped in Ukraine. Her report.
In touring the African continent, our first stop is in Ethiopia, where thousands of Eritrean refugees are shell-locked and separated from loved ones and fleeing on foot through harsh terrain to escape artillery and gunfire. At least 5 people were killed in an attack by rebels from neighboring Tigray, leaving an untold number of women kidnapped. A senior fellow with Refugees International, Sarah Miller, highlighted the scale and scope of abuses against Eritreans during every stage of the 15th month war. Miller said she can't overemphasize how unprecedented the attack is. It should be noted that Eritrean refugees have a long history in northern Ethiopia, first arriving in 2000 towards the end of a 2-year border war which claimed tens of thousands of lives. Out of the 34,000 refugees registered in and around Barle, fewer than half have been accounted for. To this effect, the humanitarian community has a lot of reckoning and deep thinking to do about what's going on in Ethiopia. Meanwhile, in Comoros, airline AB Aviation said its small Cessna plane disappeared from the radar about 2.5 kilometers from its destination during its flight between the capital, Moroni, and the city of Fombori on the island of Moheli. Search operations have begun to find the aircraft's debris in the coastal area of Joezi, confirming the crash. The Comorian government said the 12 passengers were Comorians and that the 2 pilots were Tanzanian. According to Senior Police Officer Abdel Kader Mohammed, 3 speedboats have been sent to the estimated crash site, which allow them to collect debris from the plane and objects belonging to the passengers. Still on news about Africa, African students are reported trapped in Ukraine. They say they face extra challenges as they try to escape the war, including being blocked from getting off trains or barred from crossing borders to neighboring countries. Roughly 20% of Ukraine's foreign students are Africans and are raising awareness of their plight through the Twitter hashtag Africans in Ukraine. However, the Ukrainian government won't allow them to leave the country because even the Ukrainians themselves are not permitted to leave. The government's interest is to protect the vulnerable, which includes women, children, and the elderly.
Nora Kakebi's tour on the African continent concludes today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up at exactly 7 p.m. is Prime Hour with Kumlena and his cracked. My name is Fon Quinter. Meet again tomorrow at exactly 6:30 p.m. for what's making news in and out of the country. Until then, have a great evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Bye.